So for this deep dive, we're jumping straight into Job chapter 21.
Right into the thick of it. This is where Job is really pushing back against his friends.
He sounds pretty distressed, definitely impatient by this point.
Mm.
And he's zeroing in on a question that's just incredibly difficult.
It really is. The central puzzle he throws out there, the one he forces you to wrestle with, is, fundamentally unsettling if you expect simple answers.
Which is?
Why do the wicked live on? Not just live, but grow old, even increase in power.
Yeah, it cuts right against everything his friends have been saying, doesn't it? They're neat little explanations.
Exactly. It challenges maybe even assumptions you might hold about how things are supposed to work.
Okay, so let's get into the picture Job paints for you. He describes what he actually sees.
And it's not suffering, is it? He sees their kids, their offspring, right there, thriving.
Writhing around them before their very eyes. It's a picture of continuity, of flourishing life.
And their homes. He says they're safe, free from fear.
He explicitly states, the rod of God is not upon them. I mean, that's pretty direct.
It is. It suggests this, undisturbed peace. Security. Not what you'd expect if divine judgment was immediate and obvious, like his friends imply.
And it keeps going. The detail is quite something. It's not just people, it's their livestock, too.
Right. Their bulls breed, the cows, okay.
Yeah.
No miscarriages. It's like everything is working out for them, from family down to the farm.
Abundance.
Fruitfulness.
And then you get the description of their family life, kids, dancing, playing, music.
Tambourine, harp, flute. Sounds like a party.
It does. Life of enjoyment, celebration. This is absolutely not someone living under a visible curse.
So Job sums it up. They spend their years in prosperity, but then comes the part that really clashes with the standard narrative.
Their death. According to Job's observation, they go down to the grave in peace.
In peace. Not struck down violently or suddenly as some kind of punishment.
Which is just profoundly contrary to that idea that wickedness always leads to a bad, painful end in this life. And Job even points out their attitude, right? He sort of quotes them.
Yeah, basically saying, leave us alone. Why should we care about God's ways? What's in it for us? A real, defiant stance.
Explicit rejection, even. And yet
Job sees them prospering on earth and dying peacefully. It's a paradox he puts right in front of you.
Now, Job does acknowledge their prosperity isn't, entirely their own doing. He says it's not in their own hands. Maybe hinting it's allowed somehow.
But he immediately uses that observation to dismantle his friend's arguments. He challenges you, asking essentially, look around. How often do you really see the wicked snuffed out like a lamp because of their sin?
How often does disaster actually strike them in this life in proportion to what they've done? He's demanding a reality check.
And he pushes back hard on that idea that, God will just punish their kids later.
Right. Job insists, if there's justice like his friends claim, the person themselves should face it. See their own destruction, drink the wrath personally.
But then he makes that, almost cynical point. Once they're dead, what do they really care about their family's fate anyway? Their concern ends with their own life.
It's quite bleak. And then he makes this observation that's even more unsettling.
That these same people, the ones who should be suffering, according to the friends.
They get spared from the day of calamity, delivered from wrath.
And he asks you who actually calls them out, who confronts them to their face while they're alive and powerful.
Who repays them in this life? The picture he paints suggests, impunity.
Yeah, he's carried to the grave. There's a watch over his tomb. The earth is sweet to him. Crowds follow him. It sounds almost like honor, status, even in death.
So this powerful, uncomfortable picture. Wicked people living well, dying peacefully, maybe even respected.
And then Job sharpens the point, contrasting this with someone else whose end is exactly the same.
He describes one man dying, full of vigor, secure, prosperous, just like the wicked person he detailed.
And then another man dying bitter, having never tasted any good his whole life.
And the punchline.
Side by side, they lie in the dust, and worms cover them both. That's the core of it for you.
Regardless of the life-lived prosperous ease or bitter hardship, the physical end, the dust, the worms, it's identical.
So Job looks at this reality, the one he sees, and he turns to his friends.
And basically says their comfort, their easy answers, it all feels like nonsense.
Yeah, falsehood is the word he uses, because their explanations just don't match up with what he observes happening in the world. It doesn't match his experience or observation.
He's telling you their neat formulas are broken.
So Job leaves you with this stark reality. The prosperous person who perhaps rejected certain norms and the bitter person who knew only hardship, they end up in the same dust, covered by the same worms.
It really forces you to question those simple links between righteousness, suffering, prosperity, and how life actually plays out.
So the thought to leave you with, drawn right from Job's struggle here. Given these observations, the prosperous and the bitter ending, side by side in the dust, what does this text provoke you to think about justice, about suffering, and about outcomes in this life?